All right, what is going on, Laker fans? Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of the post-game show. Lakers over the Kings, 113-100. Really impressive win for the Lakers. Nice couple of games as far as bouncing back for the Lake Show. We know how much the Lakers have been struggling. Now you can put two wins together. A win over the Memphis Grizzlies on Sunday. They obviously don't play. They played the game earlier before that. They had the win against the Portland Trailblazers, but they're barely playing any games over these last 2 weeks. But these last two games specifically, a win over the Memphis Grizzlies and now a win over the Sacramento Kings. Very, very impressive. I'm seeing a stat here. There's been a lot of negative stats around the Lakers. They've won 3 of their last 4 games, but it's games like this that, to me, can really kind of set a tone for the Lake Show. They needed it. They had to have it. And I do want to jump here as we get started real quick because Mike Trudell's talking to Anthony Davis. Let's take a quick listen to that, and then we'll kind of officially start our post-game show. Here's AD.
Points, following the game plan discipline was on point. Team effort. I mean, you had D'Lo come in, change the game. Gabe with his big shot, changed the game. And we just crashed both ends of the floor. We shared the basketball. Not sure how many assists. We had only 22 assists, but we had great looks. A lot of assist opportunities. Shots just didn't fall. But I think overall, we did a good job on both ends of the floor. We was able to get the victory.
Yeah, you end up getting to the free throw line a lot too, so that's the assist number goes down. AD, just thinking about this Sacramento team, they had your number last year, 2-0 now against them this season.
We try to go into every season, not looking at the past, focus on what's in front of us in the present. They're a good team. We know the team that they are. We show them, their respect. Obviously, it's a tough place to get a victory in, but, we just wanted to come in and take care of business.
All right, so 6 blocks tonight for you. You tied Kobe on the Lakers all-time list, and you passed Serge Ibaka for 30th in the NBA all-time. I know shot blocking is a part of pride for you because of what it impacts on the defensive end, but what do you think about those numbers getting up there in the blocks?
Just trying to protect the rim. It's my job to be the last line of defense. Anything that comes to the paint, it's my job to take care of it, whether it's an alter shot or a block shot, and was able to get 6 of them tonight. I love playing defense. I love taking pride on the defensive end, anchoring our defense, and just try to do my job tonight on that end.
Last one for you. You played through a couple things tonight. Looked like you got the shoulder a little early, foot or ankle late. How you doing physically? And I assume you got to go get some ice on it.
Yeah, messed up my shoulder on that dive in the floor in the first quarter. Twisted the ankle in the fourth quarter. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. See what the plan is for Saturday.
Thanks, Anthony.
All right, that's AD right there with Mike Trudell, Spectrum SportsNet. I'm going to stay on Anthony Davis here for a quick second. So if you're just getting in here, I appreciate you guys joining the post-game show. Obviously, the Lakers over the Kings, 113-100. We're going to break it all down. We're going to spend some time here. I really, really thought another very impressive win for the Lakers. Let me explain why. Yes, the Lakers have had their struggles against the Sacramento Kings, but I'll tell you what was impressive to me. I'll start off with this, and in a little bit, we'll get into some of the comments. There's a bunch of different topics we can get into, but that's 2 straight games. The Lakers just starting the game looked good. I mean, they came out against Memphis and punched first. Memphis never had a lead on them. In this game tonight against the Sacramento Kings, by the time the first quarter was done, Lakers had a 9-point lead. Sacramento's going to go on runs. Nobody's saying that they're not going to go on runs. They did. Kind of put themselves back in a position in that second quarter. And when the dust settled, Lakers still had a lead going into halftime. But what I thought was most impressive is all of a sudden now you're starting to see the Lakers play some defense. Against Memphis, they played defense. Against Sacramento tonight, they played defense. And I remember doing the postgame show after the Lakers beat the Grizzlies, and there were a pretty fair amount of Laker fans that were like, yeah, but that's just because the Grizzlies missed shots. So are we going to give the Lakers any credit, or is it just the other team can't hit a shot? Sacramento's a pretty high-powered offense as well. I'm going to read you some of the stat lines of some of these individual players for the Sacramento Kings that you would think are just, they're efficient players, they're good players, they're going to find ways to put the ball in the hoop. DeMar DeRozan was 4 of 13. Keegan Murray was 4 for 11. De'Aaron Fox was 7 for 17. Malik Monk was 7 of 15. Let me see here. I want to find what Herder did. Herder was awful, by the way. At least every time I looked, the guy had 4 turnovers and he only took 4 shots. He was 2 of 4 from the field. The point that I'm trying to make is the only efficient player that played tonight for the Sacramento Kings was Domantas Sabonis. He only took 12 shots. He was 8 of 12 from the field. The reason why I mention that is this is not 2 games where there's another squad out there that just happened to struggle on offense. This is 2 games where I thought the Lakers played good defense. Gabe Vincent, defensively, very nice. Max Christie, defensively, very nice. Guys were playing with a certain type of energy that, not even just energy, a certain type of grit is the right word. There was, you were at least watching a team over these last couple of games against good competition, good point guards, good players all around. Jaren Jackson Jr., obviously Desmond Bane, Ja Morant. I went through the list of the players of the Sacramento Kings: Domantas Sabonis, Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox. Go down the list of some of these players, DeMar DeRozan, that represent the Kings. That's solid defense. We just heard from Anthony Davis. Did you guys see Anthony Davis's stat line? By the way, he wasn't the same player after that first quarter. He did have some stinger. He's dealing with something. I don't know what it is, but clearly his aggressiveness on offense completely faded away. So the only way the Lakers were going to win this game is if Anthony Davis was a beast defensively and if these role players contributed. I've put out a lot of videos over these last couple of weeks, and I've been very critical of the team. I don't really see how you can watch this team and not be critical of them. But one of my biggest frustrations, I guess you want to call it, I got no idea what these role players are going to do every single night. I have no idea if Gabe Vincent's going to give you nothing or he's going to hit 4 threes like he did tonight. Most of the time is nothing. And you could go down the list of some of these other role players. Tonight was a team win, and it was led on defense. Listen, does this change everything, and now all of a sudden the Lakers are going to go to the Western Conference Finals? No, it probably doesn't. But it's 2 straight games that the Lakers won because they got stops, because they played defense, because they weren't relying on, we got to hit our threes and put up 115 points. That's not a good methodology in the NBA. That's not a good methodology in any sport, especially in the NBA. So what I liked, at least against Memphis and against Sacramento, defense was the foundation. Speaking of which, Anthony Davis, I said after the first quarter, wasn't the same player. But where Anthony Davis, everywhere you looked, De'Aaron Fox is trying to get to the basket. He gets past the first primary defender, gets towards 7-8 feet away from the basket, and there's Anthony Davis. He's either got to make a decision to shoot over AD, get blocked, or try to kick the ball out. Malik Monk, you saw this happen a couple times. Kevin Huerter, you saw almost kind of panic when he saw AD in the middle. Anthony Davis, it's not just presence. Sometimes players can have a certain type of presence. They can have a certain type of presence, but it doesn't mean that that presence is going to also it doesn't mean that presence is going to it's going to show up in the stat line. For AD, it's both. He's got the presence. He's got guys that all of a sudden decide, well, I can't take the shot, which doesn't get in the stat line. He has 6 block shots and 3 steals. And oh, by the way, 20 rebounds. That's a monster stat line. That's a way that you can impact a game, and you didn't drop 35 or 40 or 45 or 50 points like AD has the capability of doing. So defensively, I thought for the Lakers, really, really impressive. And like I mentioned, I think specifically for me, I'm seeing something right now, a stat here. Lakers 101.3 opponent points in the last 4 games. That's how you win games. That's how you win games. I was talking about the role players. Ooh, close. That was like a pump fake sneeze right there. Did you guys see that? I kind of caught you with a pump fake right there, but I didn't do it. You got caught on that pump fake. That really wasn't a pump. It would have been called for travel because I got off the air. I thought I was sneezing right there. All right, some of the role players here real quick. Here are the role players that I'm talking about. First off, Austin Reaves. If your name's not LeBron and Anthony Davis, you're a role player. Okay, now there's tiers to the role players, but you're a role player. Austin Reaves had 25 tonight, along with 5 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 50% from the field, got to the free throw line 9 times. He was big. And that's the only reason why I want to mention Austin Reaves. I'm going to keep going down the list of some of these other role players, but that's big time from Austin Reaves. All right. We got JJ Redick that's getting ready to talk right now. Let me get to JJ, and then we'll continue to go with some of the role players. I'll start getting into some of the comments as well. Here's JJ Redick on the Lakers win.
Yeah, he was phenomenal tonight. And it just shows you how elite he is as a player, that he can have a 7 for 20 night and still dominate a basketball game. For the group, I really felt like this might be my favorite win we've had all season, just because we weren't efficient offensively, but because of our crashing, because we limited them in transition, limited them to one shot, like all of the things that we've preached, that give yourself a chance to win every night if you have an off shooting night and an off offensive night. We did tonight, and it just the group was great. We had so many different contributions at different times. Max and Gabe with the offensive rebounds late, some defensive plays from Cam, just really good stuff. And then AR, LeBron, AD, they were great as always.
With Austin, we mentioned something to him the other night where he's been, trying to turn the corner a little more and attacking, and he likes to talk about himself as like says, I'm not fast, I'm not an athlete. Obviously, that's relative being in the NBA, but did you have that conversation with him about the thrust that he can do getting downhill? And because it seemed like there was a lot of what you call the paint to great tonight.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time with him, and a lot of that discussion is centered around his decision making once he touches the paint. There's one play, I think Sabonis got a block from behind where he might have, there's a late contest, but he might have had a guy in the corner. Outside of that, he made great decisions when he got downhill. And he just provides us with, again, that thrust, particularly in the half court. I think he's a great athlete. I'll be honest with you. I think he's a great athlete. Maybe not the 1% of the NBA, but he's in the 1% of the world. Yeah.
LeBron's second game back since the absence. What did you make of his night? Did you see a similar approach that you saw in the last game against Memphis?
Yeah, I did. I thought
this is the final question, and we'll keep going with the post game.
Played the right way offensively, particularly to start the third quarter. I ended up not having to use the timeout, but I challenged them at halftime to just go play, not walk the ball up, get into our stuff quicker, play like we do most of the time in the first half to start the third. Because of the timeout situation, just the game flow, I didn't end up using that timeout 4 minutes in, but I thought he was a big part of that. Getting to second actions, being a screener, being a hub. I guess outside of a couple guys, we didn't get like great shooting nights from guys, but the way we played and the process with which we played, I really liked.
All right, that's JJ right there. Well, let's keep going with the post game show. We got a lot to get into tonight. I don't want to. I think we got the main points, and it's kind of funny, a little bit ironic. Right as I finish talking about kind of a portion of the game, he got into some of the role players. That's one of the first things that he said. And I was just getting into some of the role players. Austin Reaves gave you his 25 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. That's a big time night for Austin Reaves, and very efficient while he was doing it. Max Christie, did he end up getting 25 points? No, but he had 8 points. He had a couple steals. He had 4 rebounds. He kind of found himself. There is one thing that the Lakers have done in the starting lineup by putting Max Christie in there. It adds a very athletic defensive player that can also hit a couple of shots for you. Nothing crazy. I'm not telling you it's ideal. I think in a perfect world, you have more talent on this Lakers team, and he's coming off the bench, but he is offering something on defense, and that hasn't always been the case. And if Dalton Knecht was starting before and now he's not, that probably has more to do. Yes, he's been struggling shooting the ball, but it also has to do with he's a liability on the defensive side. Keep going on some of these guys. Gabe Vincent. Guys, we haven't got a chance to do this much as Gabe Vincent in his entire career as a Laker. It's a really nice game for Gabe Vincent tonight. I felt his presence. He had big shots. He was 4 of 5 from the 3-point line, had 12 points, had 3 assists, had 5 rebounds, did a little bit of everything. Um, this is one of kind of the rare nights that we can compliment Gabe Vincent. And frankly, when they signed him to a 3-year, $33 million deal, everybody thought this is what you were going to get from Gabe Vincent. A lot of people thought you were going to get a lot of nights like this. Hit a couple of threes, play some good defense, be involved, certainly be in at the end of games, be a contributor night in and night out. That hasn't been the case. The Gabe Vincent contract and experiment has not gone as planned. Tonight in Sacramento, he was really good. He was really helpful. He played a role. He did what he was supposed to do from the beginning. And I know, like I said, that has not been the case. Some other contributions, just some smaller ones. Cam Reddish, you heard at least JJ Redick say just what he was bringing on the defensive side. And that was really it. I know Dalton Connect got 10 minutes, really not all that much from him. He hit a layup, missed a couple of threes. But that gets you most of the guys. I thought Rui Hachimura had some moments for himself, 10 points, just 3 and 9 from the field, but some rebounds, some offensive rebounds from some defensive plays. Really, really strong number from the plus minus. I think the best plus minus tonight was Rui Hachimura with plus 21. And then the last player out there, LeBron, 8 of 21 from the field. He had 19 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds. I think most importantly for everybody, Lakers had 6 guys in double figures, so it wasn't all on LeBron and Anthony Davis. If Reaves doesn't do what he does and Gabe Vincent doesn't hit those threes and I don't know, Rui doesn't chip in with another 10, something along those lines. I missed one, and give me 1 second. I'm going to go to D'Lo. I want D'Lo by himself for a quick second. If he doesn't do that, then all of a sudden you got, I don't think the Lakers get this win. Anthony Davis said when he was in his presser with Mike Trudell, he said that he thought D'Lo was a game changer tonight. I don't know if this is exact quote, but it was something along those lines. Let me do D'Lo by himself here real quick. 16 points, 6 rebounds for D'Angelo Russell, 7 of 15 from the field. He was not, obviously scared to shoot. 2 of 8 from the 3-point line. That's not ideal, but you felt D'Lo's presence as well. They played good enough defense that if your shooting didn't work, you're still going to walk away with a W, and that's what happened with the Lakers. All right, let's get to some of your comments here. We'll kind of start looking at what people think of the game. Let's start here with AR. AR, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. Slee, wow, nice defense. 6 players in double digits, and the bench 30 points, even though they shot 40% takeaway. I think what you're saying right there too, it doesn't really matter how bad or how great you shoot if you play defense. If you get stops, you can win a game like this. If you don't get stops, then you have to shoot 50% from the field, 40% from the 3-point line. See what the Lakers stats were, because I know the stats weren't beautiful, but they don't have to be beautiful. 40% from the field, that's not good. And 36% from the 3-point line. They did get to the free throw, and they hit 25 free throws, 25 out of 30. Sacramento, 16 of 22. Rebounding, 15-4 Laker advantage. So when you get offensive rebounds, a lot of that kind of has to do with extra effort, hustle plays, and that hasn't always been associated with the Lakers. So that's obviously a really nice stat to have there for the Lake Show. AR, appreciate the super. Thank you very much for that. David Sabatini, D was the big part of the last 2 games. Yeah, I was reading that stat. I mentioned that 101 points is what the Lakers have given up over the last 4 games. So that's big time right there. And like I've said, and that'll be the theme of this postgame show tonight. That's how you get W's. If you can do that, then you keep yourself in the game. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's do it again on Saturday. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting 2 straight games on the road for the Lakers. Both of those games being out there in Sacramento. Already 2-0 against Sacramento this year. How odd is that? That never happens. The Lakers have had so much trouble against the Kings. And I got to be honest with everybody. Where I was talking about this this morning, kind of previewing the game, that team's not impressive. And I was talking about it. Sammy was on this morning. We were talking about it. And I was looking. I'm like, all right, Are the Kings better than the Suns? I'd take Phoenix. Are the Kings better than the Warriors? I'd take the Warriors. Kings better than Minnesota? I'd take the Timberwolves. Well, based off of that, Sacramento's probably not going to make the playoffs, even though they got DeMar DeRozan. I'm just not really sure what their identity is. And if their identity is we're just going to go out there and try and get 130 a night, I think that's a good game plan. They also, commit a lot of turnovers. Their rebounding is awful. They complain a ton. Sacramento was complaining on every single possession tonight. That part was a little bit annoying. AD had some beast numbers. Right, let's see what else we got. A dominant. I see what you did there. 2020 for AD. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else we got here. AD playing like the big man that he is. I would still like to see more post-ups from him. Let's go Lakers. He doesn't look healthy. I really think he's got something with his arm. I really do, or his shoulder, or whatever it is that he's dealing with. Because you could tell there's stretches where he's not even looking for the ball. But what he's doing is more on the defensive side, which I think that was kind of his impact tonight, was just predominantly on the defensive side. Was very good defense by the Lakers tonight. I think a lot of Laker fans obviously agree with that. I will say this as well. This has got to be for JJ Redick. This got to be a little bit of a breather for him. It's got to be just like a quick second for JJ Redick to just say to himself, okay, I went through kind of a wild start to the season. My team started 10-4, and everybody was saying, wow, this team looks good. They look energetic. They look connected. And then my team went through a stretch where, and I'm not even going to go through the 3-8 record, but it was how they were losing. And now it was all of a sudden like, did JJ Redick lose the locker room a quarter through the season? Is that even possible for a new coach to do that? And now he's got a couple, obviously a couple games under his belt. Certainly the players look like they're stylistically how they're playing. Maybe that message is getting across a little bit different, however that is. But nonetheless, regardless of how it is for the Lakers, certainly these last couple of games have looked a lot different. So I'm going to give JJ his praise as well, because this squad, at least for this small little stretch of games, it looks like, they're back. So it looks like they're at least representing a little bit more of what they look like in the beginning of the season and not that stretch that they were in. All right, let me look at a couple more of these. LeBron block was awesome. All right, LeBron today passed Kareem in most minutes played in a regular season in the history of the NBA. He already had him in total minutes if you count the playoffs, but that happened today. So it's another thing that you could go towards what LeBron has accomplished. Here's why I'm mentioning that. That block you're talking about, because it was the defense that led to the offense, but LeBron got that block. And I remember watching the play, and I'm like, geez, this guy does. I mean, he's got one of these. I don't know how often, but a couple games goes by, and he's got one of those signature blocks that he's had his entire career. Then he takes it on the other end, gets the ball, and goes up with a layup. I want to say it was a left hand. It was defense to offense. Look, watching LeBron's not the same as it used to be. When we watch LeBron, I think there's a lot of Laker fans that have the same feeling with LeBron. Come on, LeBron. Too much hero ball. Let that ball move. Don't let it stick. Why are you taking a bad shot towards the end of the shot clock? But then there's also the moment of the dude's about to turn 40 and he's still putting up numbers. He still has highlight plays. He can still have triple doubles. A little bit of everything that comes obviously with LeBron at this stage of his career. All right, let me catch a couple of these supers here. Brandon, thank you very much for the super. Can Max develop into a real defensive talent like Caruso? He's a good team defender, but he seems eager to make an impact on that side. Yeah, let me tell you this, Brandon. Now, Caruso is one of the better defenders in the league, period. So you're setting a really, really high bar. But I will tell you this. There is he's clearly being told by the personnel and by the coaching staff, you want PT, you got to play defense. And he's clearly taking advantage of that opportunity, because in that starting lineup, other than Anthony Davis, who's a lockdown defender on the Lakers, you're not going to say Reaves is. Rui's might have some moments. Bron clearly at this stage is not. I think it's kind of a golden opportunity for Max Christie. And we'll see if they get healthier or if they go make a trade or something like that. He's probably going to be coming off the bench again. But he's certainly taken advantage of at least this opportunity. Brandon, I think it's a good point. Again, the Caruso thing, no need to compare him to another player. But I think for what he could potentially do and what he can become, they've definitely told him, you got to go get stops. And if you can get stops, you're going to get playing time. And he's obviously doing that for the Lakers and finding ways. It was Ja Morant that he had to guard, in that last game. De'Aaron Fox in this one. Fox never looked like he was in a rhythm, had 5 fouls. I don't even think we were midway through the third quarter, and he had 5 fouls. So, something to keep in mind there. They're showing it right now here on Spectrum. Most minutes played in NBA history. LeBron, 57, 471. Kareem, 57, 446. So LeBron passes Kareem. He's pretty much passing any player that's ever played the game in every stat that you can possibly think of. I guess that's what happens when you're 22 years in the league. So that's the stat that I was talking about a little bit earlier, the stat that's up there right now. And it certainly kind of, it puts things into perspective. This is what this guy is doing at this stage of his career. All right, speaking of which, let's take a quick listen. Here's LeBron post-game on the Lakers win over the Sacramento Kings.
Our defense stood out the most. I mean, obviously, when you shoot 40% on the road, there's a couple factors that has to happen. You can't turn the ball over. Bless you twice. Can't turn the ball over. And you got to get timely stops. And we did that throughout the course of the game.
JJ was talking about low man rotations the other day, how important that is against a team with Sabonis and their guards. You guys were doing that, and then AD's got the 6 blocks, 3 steals, 20 boards. You've seen that before, but how did you get together with the scheme there and kind of build up upon what you've been doing as a defense?
AD is special. Don't take those performances for granted and just say that's just AD doing AD. No, that's just a special talent and a special player. And, we needed every last one of those 20 boards, and everybody just tried to protect him. I thought Maxey was great. His offensive rebounding, was great. And I thought Gabe and D'Lo came off the bench and gave us a big-time boost. We needed it.
The team defense has been trending in the right direction. JJ mentioned coming into the night that you guys had the best defensive rating in the league over the last 3 games, and then obviously get the win tonight, and that was a strong part of it.
Yeah, I mean,
how do you fit in ideally to this defensive scheme?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, get stops. One defensively is, I think, the number one thing is about, being accountable and holding your guy and understanding. Don't just let blow-bys happen in whatever the case may be, but also being on the stream with the other 4 guys on the floor. And it starts with communication. And I think we've been communicating at a high over the last 4 games, like you mentioned. We're going to need to continue that.
I know we talked to you about it at shoot around, but you obviously passed Kareem tonight for all-time minutes in the regular season. Have you had a chance to reflect on that since?
Coach came in and congratulated me. My teammates said, told me old as hell and all that. But like I said, it's a pretty cool honor. Obviously, anytime I'm linked with some of the greats that have ever played this game, and to know that I've been available to my teammates, to know I've been able to do this at a high level over 2 decades, and continue to put myself in record books in this game of basketball that I love so much in the best league in the world is pretty cool, and it's very very humbling.
Your playoff minutes, I think,
final one here,
about 3,000 more than number 2, which is Duncan. Do you hold that in even higher regard than the regular season minute totals, just for sort of what it says about the run? Or is
they both are special. I mean, obviously, you set your mark and trying to make things happen in the regular season to prepare for the postseason. It's all part of the process. And I've been able to have some deep playoff runs and play some meaningful basketball games in my career into the postseason. So they both have a special meaning. You can't have one without the other.
All right, we'll stop it right there. That's Bron talking about tonight's game, talking about the win, emphasizing the defense. Really, that's going to be the theme. Anything you hear from any of these players, they're going to be talking about how they were able to come through defensively, and that they should. They should 100%. That's where they should be most proud about of what they did tonight, is the fact that they were able to play defense. All right, a couple more here that I want to get into, and hopefully we get a chance to hear from Anthony Davis as well. Slee, AR, thank you again, man. I appreciate it. Anybody sending a super, I really, really do appreciate it. If you don't send a super, all good as well. Nonetheless, I appreciate you guys being a part of the channel. Slee, defensively in the NBA, we went from 29th ranking to 10th place now. How about that? Well, I'm going to go back to something here real quick, and let's go back real quick to the schedule. And listen, I'm talking about the Lakers virtually every single day. Let me show you this stretch that they were in, and you tell me how the Lakers are going to win games. Against Denver, they gave up 127. Against Phoenix, they gave up 127. Against the Heat, they gave up 134. The Hawks, they gave up 134. Those are the four kind of games that stood out. Those were the ones that were really, really bad blowouts. How are you going to win a game if you're giving up that many points? And it's got to be collectively. You can't ask Anthony Davis to do everything. And I thought tonight the Lakers didn't ask Anthony Davis to do everything. They asked him to do a lot, but he'd have to do everything. So AR, it's a good point. It's good. It's good to point out, and certainly that has, obviously a lot to do with the Lakers win. All right, let's look at a couple more of these comments here. Slee, this is the first time LBJ doesn't look the same. Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a little bit of, I think that's how this season has gone so far. To me, if Bron has been on his, by the way, if you looked at those numbers, he's still 22, like 6 and 7 or 7 and shooting 49% from the field. You shouldn't have numbers like that. And for those that say, those are just stats, guys, it's not easy to get those kind of stats in the NBA every single night. And that's what he does. But to go back to it, I think this year, 1000% is the time that, or is, one of the first times where I'm that decline it's coming. That decline is happening. He's got to be very strategic with his minutes, when he's in, when he subs in, when he subs out. Listen, he just got 8 days off because of the schedule, the NBA Cup. He took off the Portland game. He also sat out the Minnesota game on the road. So he probably recharged a little bit. But I agree with you. You can definitely tell that it's not the same, which is why it's even more imperative that some of these other players step up. Slee, I hate when the Lakers give us false hope like tonight's game. Do me a favor. For Laker fans that are out there that, and I understand it. I know where you're coming from. I get what you're talking about, because this team is they're inconsistent. I think it's safe to say, if you said to myself, what do you think this team is? Are they an average team in the Western Conference? You're probably going to say yes. It was part of my conversation this morning. I was having the show, or when I was doing the show, Rick Bucher was on national, I think it's the Jason Smith show, Fox Sports Radio. And I was listening last night, driving around. And he was asked the question of, are they a great team? Are they an awful team? Or are they an average team? And Bucher comes back and he basically said, what were they last year? And the host is like, well, they're pretty much kind of average, if you look at it in the Western Conference. He's like, well, did they make any changes in the summer? No, they didn't make any changes in the summer. What have they looked like so far this year? Yeah, pretty average. They have some bad wins, some good wins, some bad losses, some good, whatever it is, right? And he's like, so what does that make them? He's like, average. I'm like, all right, yeah. Rick Bucher just, I think, explained everything in a 1-minute interview, that the Lakers are an average team. But I say all that because I don't think you got to you don't have to look too far down. I think with the Lakers right now, all right, they won against Memphis and they won on the road against Sacramento. Lakers have been awful on the road. I think you should just feel good about it. Don't sell yourself on false hope. It's okay. Just enjoy tonight. Enjoy the game that you had on Sunday. We all do that, by the way. It's like we all create negativity in front of us that hasn't even got there yet. I do that all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, when that happens, it's like nothing even happened yet. Why are you speaking negative? Max held De'Aaron Fox to 7 of 17. I do like, one of the things I do really, really like about this channel, I know there's a lot of people on here that just genuinely like the game of basketball. I like that you guys are going out of your way to point out Max Christie, because I think the Christie thing, that's something that I think comes more from people who, are familiar. It's not just a box score. There's a lot more to it. And Christie, certainly had some impact in these last couple of games. Here's AD.
Do I do what?
Well, recognize that it's not easy to dominate a game like that completely with those kind of, not just the numbers, but the impact.
Yeah, I mean, I just tried to, do my part. We talk about everybody just throwing in their role. Shots, weren't really falling. I just tried to, make up for it on the defensive end with rebounding and protecting the rim. I didn't know I had, 6 blocks and 20 rebounds, but, I just wanted to, do my part, in his win tonight.
What's
21 points for
consistent
AD,
about
by the way,
defense that
20
JJ mentioned
rebounds,
to us? It's been much
6
higher
blocks,
in terms of
3
ratings.
steals.
Basically, since the Minnesota game, it seems like something switched there on schematically and et cetera.
Nothing really schematically. I think we just, we're covering for each other. What I talked about, yesterday after practice. We're covering for each other. We're playing a little harder on defense. We're talking more. We're playing desperate, especially on the defensive end. So we're just showing, like I said, we had some practice days to kind of go over some things that was kind of hurting us on the defensive end. And, we had times to clean it up, and now we're just translating it to the court during real games. So, practice time helps us. And, guys are having a cover mentality to help, each other and, knowing that mistakes is going to happen. But for the most part, we want to be solid within our defense and our schemes, and we've been doing that lately.
What have you liked about LeBron's performances these last couple games since he came back from the time away with the foot?
Obviously he's able to score, whenever he wants. I think he just taking command of the offense, with his playmaking ability. We know he can score, like I said, whenever he wants, but, he's making the right reads, getting guys open looks. And guys are, taking those open looks, and, whether make or miss is a good play. But, his voice, is what we missed the 2 games that he was out on both ends of the floor. He's a natural born leader when it comes to, the game. And, when there's times where we might seem, chaotic, he's able to kind of take control and just kind of get us into something, and try to execute as good as possible.
You guys, you said
final
you're
one
trying
here.
to do your part to get this win. You can point to 7 guys, I think, tonight who can say they did the same.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you like best about tonight? Just how many different people had a hand in it?
Yeah. It's a team game, and I think everyone chipped in tonight, whether it's on a stat sheet or not. Gave 4 for 5 from 3, which we needed. D'Lo came in and just changed the game with his energy and effort. Cam come in and changes the game. Max Christie is, always, doing what he does on both ends of the floor, making shots and, being disruptive. And then, me, Bron, and AR just kind of do what we do. But everybody had their hand in this game, and we're going to continue to need that.
All right, that's AD right there. We'll stop it there on Anthony Davis. Okay, so a couple things here as you kind of start looking forward here for the Lakers. A couple things to keep in mind. I saw something actually on here. See, I highlighted here. Ruben says, so think of all the negativity around the NBA right now, all the negativity around just how the game is played, how many guys are jacking up threes. LeBron had a quote earlier today. I'll probably spend some time on my show tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. By the way, if you don't know, Monday through Friday here on YouTube, I'm doing a show talking a lot of Lakers, a lot of NBA, but I mix in other sports. But tonight, for me, this wasn't hard to watch because it actually was good defense. There were some times, watching Sacramento play stylistically, the turnovers. Lakers had a lot of turnovers in the first half. I'm not telling you it's perfect every night because it certainly isn't. But at least you had a team that was getting stops because they were a good defensive team. It was a good defensive effort from a squad rather than, Olay defense, nobody really paying attention on the defensive side, guys jacking up 50, 63s, whatever it is a night. That's probably more of the piece that's disappointing a lot of these fans. And it's also other things, load management. I did a couple separate videos today. Magic Johnson was on one of the shows on FS1, Speak. And that's with Keyshawn Johnson, Joy Taylor, Paul Pierce was on there. And while they're doing the show, I spent some time just listening to them critique how they thought the competition of the game is. Paul Pierce had a great example of saying, hey, you couldn't take all-star breaks because Kobe wasn't going to take an all-star break. So he kind of rose the level of everybody else. Everybody else is like, well, if Kobe wants to win, then their competitive juices came in. So the league's got a way to go, but I will say, Ruben, to just kind of go on what you said, you respected the way the Lakers played tonight. It's not always going to be pretty, but at least you can walk away and say that squad was fighting for 48 minutes, and tonight they got a W out of it. That doesn't always happen. Okay, here's what the Lakers have. Here's what the Lakers got coming up. So I'm going to give everybody just a quick idea as far as the schedule goes. So next game for the Lakers, a little odd one here, a Saturday game at Sacramento again. What are we in the playoffs? It's a 3 p.m. tip-off. So I'll be doing a post game probably around, 5:30, something along those lines, probably around there. So something to keep in mind on that front. After that, Lakers got a home game against Detroit. And then they're on the road on Christmas against the Golden State Warriors. So expect a lot more games from the Lakers now. We kind of got already those. There were a lot of days that we got to kind of sit there and do nothing. Well, those are over because there's going to be a lot of Laker games now that we're out of the in-season tournament. So get ready to start pumping through some games. That is, let me see if I got anything else. I think that's all I got for tonight. I think that's perfect. Let's call it a night there. Today was a long day. Today I had the show in the morning, put up 2 more separate clips, had the post-game show tonight. Tomorrow I'll be back in the morning as well doing another show. So we'll keep we'll keep pumping out the content, and hopefully this is what you guys are looking for. Either way, if you guys can literally it takes 10 seconds. Subscribe to the channel, help grow this channel. This is an independent journey that I'm on, no longer at 710 ESPN. Over about 3-4 months now that I've been gone, and everything else now is 100% here on YouTube. So I'm going to try to make it happen. If you could subscribe to the channel, it would be great. If you can give a thumbs up, do everything else you do, that'd be fantastic. Either way, appreciate you guys being a part of the show. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. If you can't make it for that, we'll be back for Saturday for the Lakers postgame show. Thank you, everybody. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.